All right, 3, 2, 1. Episode 14, folks. Can you believe it? We have our own in-house pixel polymath, our Attribution all-star, Corey Canestrare. Did I hit it? Did I hit it?
All right, that's Canestrare. That's close. It's Rare.
Oh, damn it, Canestrare. Damn it, I should know
I'll
this.
take that one. It's okay. I've experienced way worse than that.
We'll give us an 8 out of 10. Okay, I'll take it. He's on the team. He can give me some sauce. All right, Corey, first off, thank you for joining us. As you can see, I'm back in our Austin HQ. And, Corey, where does this podcast find you?
I'm actually right outside of Philadelphia right now in a town called Ben Salem.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. How long have you been in Philly? Or how long have you been in Pennsylvania, I guess?
Well, PA, essentially I've been here my whole life.
Oh,
I
cool.
took a little hiatus for about 4 or 5 years into North Carolina, into Charlotte. Loved it there.
Oh,
it's beautiful.
Yeah. Dad's out there.
Yep.
It's a really pretty city.
Oh, yeah. I seen
Pops is
in
out there.
your tweet your location. I was like, hold on, what's this guy doing in my stomping grounds?
Pops is out in Mint Hill.
Nice, yeah. It's a beautiful area.
Yeah.
A lot of growth, a lot of development.
Yeah.
They got like some financial sectors out there. Not too
Sports
much of a tech
teams.
scene. They got some stuff going for them. So shout out to North Carolina.
Yeah, I was impressed with that. The Charlotte. So Charlotte, and then back to the suburbs of Philly.
Then back to suburbs of Philly. Yeah.
I love it.
I actually have
Awesome.
a place in Philadelphia too, so I bounce back and forth.
Oh, look at you.
With the
wow.
fan.
Big
Yeah.
dogging. Love it. Yeah, I also keep a place in Philly as well. Look at this guy. I love him.
Yeah.
So
The
how did
Bat Cave.
Exactly. So how did you get into tech? Give kind of our listeners a little, and so I guess I should color in the lines first to give people where you're at now. So Corey's basically leading all of our pixel development, working with all of our dev team very tightly, and making everything perfect. And so it's a pretty senior role. So putting that out there, can you kind of give people a little bit of color into how you've made it into this role and kind of stuff like that?
Yeah. So full circle. Honestly, as most things in life, once we take a step back to look at it, a lot of full circle moments. I want to say 2005. Young me has a E-machine computer, big tower. Downloading stuff, breaking stuff, viruses. It's my mother's computer. The computer doesn't work. What'd you do? What did you do? And so I was like, oops, gotta figure out how to fix it. And so started learning how to do simple stuff like virus removal, program installation, program uninstallation. It was you get a new computer, it comes with all this bloatware. It's like, oh, how do I tune this up, right?
Yeah,
and so
defragging
that's kind of where I was.
drives.
Yeah, man. Oh, wow, defragging hard drives. Wow.
Kids don't know, Corey. The kids don't know. the visualizations are so perfect.
Wow. Hello, you've got mail.
Yeah. Oh man, the 56K when it grabs, you're like, yeah.
Yeah. So that was the era, right? Breaking computers, getting viruses,
Yep.
and then I got into school. I was a basketball player, pretty good basketball player, and I knew how to circumvent the proxies at school. It's like, how do we get back on YouTube? How do we get back on MySpace? You were trying to get back on MySpace, and how do we get to addictedgames.com? I realized that if you want to, if you pinged, there's this terminal, there's this command line, and there's this thing called ping, which actually just goes out and tries to connect to the domain. So I would type in YouTube, ping youtube.com, and then it would return in the terminal, in the command line, the IP address of the website. And so if you use the IP address rather than youtube.com, so if you put in the telephone number of youtube.com, it would load right up. And so this is I'm hacking. And so that's where my interest, is I didn't have any natural tech desire or anything. It was just I was having these experiences in life where it's just oh wow, that was cool. And that just kept the curiosity going. And,
I love that.
I think 2009, there's this site called Wix.com that comes out.
Yeah.
And you could build Flash websites, and so you could have animation everywhere. I had stars flying everywhere. I had the Pure Imagination song from Willy Wonka is one of my favorite movies. And so when you came on my website, it was simply look around if you want to see paradise. It's just all this music playing, there's stars flying everywhere, just complete barf on page.
Oh yes.
No UX, no UI whatsoever. I was I'll take your trash out, I'll mow your lawn, I'll do virus. I'll set up like some routers for you.
Yeah.
And this is a time where I started to get serious. I'm like, wow, you can make money. Like you can make money doing some of these technical tasks for people, and that's where the entrepreneurial brain started really, that engine really started going. I'm like, oh wow, so if I like build this website for you, you'll give me $300, $500. And so that was like during high school that I was doing that, right? I was making a couple $100 here and there. I would like hack people's Wi-Fi passwords. So I had friends like who graduated.
Allegedly. Just because it's a podcast.
We gotta clean this. Yeah. I had this idea that I could have done.
A friend.
Yeah, a friend. They went to Temple University, and everyone had Wi-Fi down there. And, right? So I was like, why buy Wi-Fi? We all have Wi-Fi. There's like 18 different Wi-Fis. It's like, why not just connect to yours?
That's like the precursor to mesh networks in reality.
Yeah, man, and we're heading that way anyway. Like actually, Comcast, which is the big provider in the Northeast, huge provider. I actually got a lawsuit for this. Essentially, when you got your router from Xfinity, Comcast Xfinity was their product line. You got your router. Your internal internet would have one Wi-Fi name, SSID, but also any Comcast customers that were in the area would also see one called Xfinity.
I remember this.
And if they could connect to this Wi-Fi with their username and password. So essentially, strangers or neighbors could be using your router because they were paying Xfinity customers.
Yep.
And this was set by default on your router when you got it, and people did not like this. It's like, oh, you're using our energy, right? So like our power bill, and essentially nothing bad ended up happening other than they needed to stop shipping them by default that way.
Yeah.
They weren't able to quantify like any damages done to people.
What would be interesting there would be if they offered a lower price point if you opted into that. That would make me interesting to then you can kind of like people that didn't mind it, that wanted to get a little juice on it. But yeah, that's pretty sketchy. Also too, I guess you said nothing happened, but there's just something inherently weird about letting somebody in my network. Even though it's like, it's like not in my network, but it is, but it's like, you know what I mean? There's just like.
You're on my device. So you got access.
Like there's something there that just makes me a little hesitant, but that's amazing.
But at that moment, that time is when I knew. I was like, okay, I made a couple dollars here, made a little money, but once I started playing around with the network architecture, like how devices communicate, I was like, wow, I actually I want to do this. And so I had a really bad GPA in high school. A 1.1 GPA. So I literally barely graduated.
Yeah.
But my best class in school was physics. And so it just showed like school didn't challenge me.
Sure.
And that's a lot of students are experiencing that kind of thing where they're not challenged, and so they're busy talking or being a class clown or trying to figure out a way to express themselves. And I was definitely one of those kids. But after I graduated, I had the opportunity to fill out some scholarship opportunities, academic like tests, where it wasn't based on the merit of what you had; it was based on the merit of what you could prove today. And so it was a test, and I scored really high on the test, and then it was an interview. And so they ended up giving me a full academic scholarship to go to a technical school. I actually forget the name of the school. CHI was the acronym. It's a technical-based school. It was owned by Kaplan University. Kaplan is like a big education company. And they gave me a full scholarship for network engineering. So that's where I got to learn all of the networking server, routers, IP, the network layer of what's happening, all this stuff. So I was like deep into like servers and extremely technical for like from 2009 to like 2013.
Oh wow.
I was like a computer nerd, like building computers, motherboards, CPUs, like everything from scratch. It's like if you bought a pre-built computer, you were a loser.
Can you run Linux on that? Get out of here.
Yeah, exactly. Like I had Linux on my PS3.
Exactly.
Right? Like for what? I had Android on my iPhone.
Yep. Oh my gosh! I used to be into the jailbreaking world as well when I was younger, and that's so funny.
Jailbreaking, man. Woo.
Yeah, OG stuff. That's incredible. So you have all these network chops now. Now what?
So now it's like, okay, I'm making a little bit of money doing this, but it wasn't that fun to me, honestly. It was like, I'm an impact person. Like I want to have impact, and there's just not so much impact you can do in people's lives, like in a closet,
Yep.
like in the basement closet, working with some guy who's been here for 40 years, who's not about to change anything about the infrastructure. So it was although it was very empowering learning it, I felt like kind of powerless with what I learned,
Yep.
and um, and so I still knew how to do the website thing, right? Like that was still something I was still playing around with, and so I was like, you know what? Let me just like focus on building websites, and then learning about email marketing, and just gradually started to learn the performance marketing suite of
Yep.
tools, and I did that for a few years. And I never had a job. Like in high school I had a job working for Best Buy Mobile, but outside of high school, like I never had a job. I was just
Yeah.
making money whenever I needed money.
Love it.
Privileged enough to where I had a roof over my head.
Yep.
Um, Definitely, my mom comes from a very hardworking background, from the center city, like hard. Like my house that I grew up in is a corner store now,
Sure.
right? Just like in the hood, and
Yeah. Yeah.
essentially, she's worked her way all the way up to high six-figure earnings, and but I was privileged enough to where I didn't have to be worried about the bills being cut off or anything. So I took full
Absolutely.
advantage of that. It's like, why am I making money? Why not I could just learn? And so
I
I started
love
building
that.
websites for people, and that's when I had the bright idea. I was like, okay, if these people want websites to make money, they don't just want a website. At first they were like, oh, this website's amazing. They refresh it 1,000 times. Like, oh, look at this little loading animation. So beautiful, so beautiful. But yet they're not hitting their goals. And then I learned about Facebook ads. And oh boy, did life change quickly and fast. Like when you figure out how to press the print money button on Facebook, life can get very interesting. And I figured that out. Um, with a little bit of luck, I guess, and timing. Um, a lot of people weren't running traffic yet, and they had this mystifying ideas about traffic and ads, and
Yeah.
so I was able to get into that, and I just started consulting and freelancing around driving traffic and helping people in their funnels. Right? It's like now I know how to. I knew how to optimize a funnel. I knew how to optimize an email sequence, an SMS sequence. I knew how to get conversion rates. I knew it wasn't the most genius at all of that, but I knew all of it. And with the advent of adding in traffic, it was like I can be a consultant for your entire e-com flow. And I started in like the more challenging space, and maybe that's like services, like
Yeah.
home services, like electricians, plumbers, pest control, like some of these things, like inbound traffic, from Google, and some of those things are like $50 a click, 30
Yeah.
bucks a click. So you got to be dialed in, like it's not like $10 CPMs or $30 CPMs.
That's so
So
fascinating.
and then right, so it's like I'm paying more for these clicks,
Yep.
and if there's more pressure on me, so I need to really understand, like, when we get this click, what did that user do? Like,
Yeah.
that's where the attribution need came. It's like I really need to know the journey of these people we're paying for, because there's such a premium that I'm paying for it.
Right.
And then like I already knew that kind of. I wasn't like deep into that, but I kind of knew, like, I was very interested in the customer journey. Like I was using the conversion pass report in Google Analytics.
Yeah. Yep.
I was using like session recording tools like Hotjar,
Sure. Sure.
Full Story, you name it, to see what people were doing. I was really interested in, like, what are people doing, and that's when I started learning about attribution. Single touch attribution, multi touch attribution, data driven attribution. And it was just more of like an interest to me. And then my Facebook rep, like we're kind of moving fast now. Like that whole Facebook traffic realization was like 2016 to 2019, 2020 is when
Okay.
I'm
So we're getting close now.
going through all that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
now we're 2020. Got my full knowledge of the entire marketing ecosystem and bottom line profit. Now it's like, okay, I know this attribution game is about to take a big hit because of privacy. My rep had told me ATT was coming down, app tracking transparency, and AEM was going to be happening. And so I was like, ooh, okay, I see two opportunities. One, if I'm getting paid based on commission, like I was getting paid on back end revenue that I was creating,
Right.
it's like I'm going to be, that my
If that
commission's going to
goes
be messed
down,
up, right? Yeah, it's like
exactly.
they're talking about a 28-day window to a 7-day window. That could be 20-30% of my commission right there. It's
Oh
like,
my
whoa, no,
gosh.
no, no. And
Yep.
then not only my commission, I'm losing data, I'm losing insights as to what's working, and so now not only am I losing the commission, I also can't make as much money because I'm losing data. And so I knew that this was going to be a big problem for not only myself, for others. So I was like, well, I can double down. If I solve this, I get paid more for my customers, and maybe I can sell something
Yep.
to those in
A
need.
little sauce for myself.
And so, it was a big challenge building the Pixel. I've built this is essentially I've built one Pixel myself so far with one of my friends, the developer. And then I reversed after that. It was so challenging. It was so difficult. There's so many things to consider. Um, and we can kind of talk about that once we get into like more of those questions around the Pixel. Um, I met AJ for TripleL. I just seen everything TripleL was doing. I was like, wow, this is like amazing. If only you guys had all the insights of like the purchase journey, the product journey, the
Yep.
AOVs, like all this stuff, net profit, MER, like all this stuff was so juicy. What if you had the raw data set to formulate those metrics?
Yep.
And I just seen TripleL was like way ahead of the rest of the industry with insights and visualizations, to where if I could persuade TripleL to invest in a Pixel, this would be awesome. Well, little did I know, it was already in the works and in the bubble. Like the
Yeah.
idea was already happening, and so it was just like perfect timing. Like it was like I seen TripleL was having a bunch of conversation. I had just got on Twitter because I was really big into Facebook groups.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just
Same.
I was just drained out, man. I was like in every Facebook media buyer group, and I was just, man, it's just a leeching environment in there.
It
It's like
is
no one.
not ideal.
And then Twitter was just like, take, have more. Oh, you're not done with what I gave you yesterday? Well, I don't care. Here's more value. I'm just gonna keep shoving value down your face.
Oh,
Where I was
so
like, wow,
good, right?
Twitter is so good, so good. Oh man. And TripleL was one of those that I seen where it's like, wow, they just keep coming with heat. It's like, and AJ was down to do the Pixel, and so that's how I got into, my learning, my experience with technology was like shaping me and preparing me for TripleL for this moment.
Yeah.
And it's been
I
very
love
interesting
it.
so far.
I love that. There's actually one of my favorite quotes by Winston Churchill, but pretty much the long and the short of it is like there's certain opportunities in your life that are so uniquely suited for you that what a shame it would be that you meet that opportunity ill prepared or just passing it by. And so yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
The other thing
Yeah.
that you can see in there, because I have a similar one, I had the same epiphany of building versus marketing, where I went down other nerdy paths, not networking, but yeah, you can ask people for a lot more money when you're making them money versus when you build them a cash register. Where it's like, this cash register is beautiful, it's amazing, why isn't it
Oh my
working?
goodness.
No, it is working.
Yeah.
There's just nobody buying anything. And so you're just and so you can yeah, get more there. But the other thing
Yeah.
is you've just never lost that tinker kind of hacker ethic, right? Like, who cares? Like, because I subscribe to that as well. Like, I have very, not that I don't care, but like I really don't value pedigree that much. I value like what you can do and what you've done and what are the like platforms you've worked with, what have you built, and
Yeah.
how do you think about solving problems versus like I'm an Ivy, I mean, granted, you like have an MIT engineering degree or something. Yes, it's incredibly valuable, but there's just a
Right.
certain aspect for me of I think sometimes pedigree can paper over a lot of actual deficiencies where for example, like a lot of the Ivy Leagues are actually legacy schools, right? So it's like these people
Yeah.
actually aren't
Exactly.
even like top tier intellectuals. They're anyways, I'm kind of digressing, but the too long didn't read is I love the fact that like you're tinkering and the only thing that is like none of your meta skills have changed. You're just becoming higher levels, so the foundation that you have is taller, and so you can stand on it and start to tinker with higher level stuff, if that makes any sense at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I'm
love that.
at for me, it's the bottom line impact. It's like, how am I impacting my friends? How am I impacting my family? How am I impacting my peers? And if the things that I've learned and accumulated don't do one of those to some efficiency at some level, I need to rethink what I'm doing. And,
That's
and
awesome, man.
to be able to drive value for hundreds and hundreds of brands It's a pretty big deal.
Fires you up. I love it.
Fires me up, man. I got a reason to wake up every morning and burn the midnight oil.
That's it. That's it. What is one weird talent you have?
Oof. One weird talent. I think a lot of the talents I have are weird.
Okay, pick one.
One weird talent I have. I can understand languages I've never seen before or heard before.
You're like a walking Star Trek recorder.
Not fully like coherently understand everything, but I get the gist. Maybe a lot of people can do this, but something that I've done well.
13th Warrior style, Antonio Banderas. That's amazing, dude. So let's wrap up this main segment real quick. And what's one piece of advice you would give to somebody that was kind of in that frustrated genius category of people forget, like, school, dude, was literally built around basically cultivating the masses for industrialized labor. That's not like a conspiracy theory. It's not like that weird, like being able to sit there and not talk was like the point of it. How would you give people advice to kind of start to build skill up, or any resources or frameworks, or anything you would suggest?
The biggest thing you can do as like a creative genius, where you feel like you're bottled up, I guess, is just go out there and do it for you. Like, find somebody you can do what you know you can do for. It's like don't wait for someone to ask you to do it. Don't wait for the opportunity to appear. It's like if you got value and you know that you have a genius in you, just start giving it to people. Like, there's times I just built websites for people. I didn't know how to sell them the website. I didn't know how to get the contract and all that stuff. I didn't know how to, do all that. And right, it's going to take time for you to learn those other pieces of the puzzle to depending on what your goal is, right? Like, if you're trying to create revenue, if you're just trying to feedback the feedback loop of life, and you're just looking for karma, either or, go out there and do real work for real people.
I love it.
Don't always be stuck in the theory and idea of what could be.
Dude, I love it. Brother from another mother here, dude. I couldn't endorse that anymore. I'm getting it tattooed. All right, Corey, you made it through the main segment. Let's jump into the value add. This is why people bought the ticket. They want to know what's going on with the Pixel. So first, I think we should set the stage of what's happening kind of with Facebook attribution now, and like, will it ever be fixed? You had mentioned some fancy terms of AEM, CAPI, yada, yada, yada. Can you kind of maybe scale up a little bit to give people some I guess, introspection on that without necessarily having the acumen that you do?
Yeah. So, highest level, long story short, there's been all these cameras on these websites, right? Camera from Facebook, camera from Google Analytics, camera from Pinterest, right? You have all these cameras on the website watching every move that is happening. Now, most website visitors are not aware of this. They're like, I came to, CNN.com just to read the news today, or Fox.com, or wherever, I won't open that can of worms, wherever, whatever site you're going to
we'll
get
mediate
your news.
TechCrunch.
Yeah, exactly. So you're going to TechCrunch.com, and you think your relationship is just one-to-one. But really, there's maybe on TechCrunch.com, there's maybe 80 different camera systems watching what you're doing. And so essentially Apple, and this is how the internet has always been. No harm, no foul, essentially. No one had any issues. And then Apple decides, for our customers' sake, Apple's so concerned about us, right? They really want to ensure that we're protected as we browse the internet, or for some other reasons they may be doing this. But what they say is that they're protecting our privacy. And what that means is that we need to change how these cameras can work. These cameras can't just record you forever. These cameras can only record you up to 7 days, and then they need to delete the footage that they've recorded. Essentially, I'm oversimplifying this drastically, but the idea is right there, right? Is like, you can record this person up to 7 days, and then after that you need to delete it. Okay, so this is kind of what's happening, and it's 7 days of inactivity. So as long as they come back tomorrow, you can do 7 days from then. If they come back 4 days from now, you can do 7 days from then. If they come back on the 7th day, well, you can do 7 days. So you can keep prolonging that. Okay.
Yep.
And so that was a big change that happened There were some changes that happened before that, like third-party cookies. Essentially, TL didn't read. Mix it up.
Mixing it.
Is that cameras used to be able to watch you the whole way for as long as they wanted, and now they can't.
Yep.
And
What
so
if I
what do we
opt in
do?
though? Where does the opt in and opt out come in?
Okay, so first things first
Or am I
was
skipping
websites
ahead?
and camera
Sorry.
systems. Yeah. First things first was just
Okay,
camera,
sorry.
just camera
Yep.
systems on websites, right? Like
Yep.
that is at
Tracking
attack.
all that. Yep.
Okay. Now let's get a little bit more focused into Facebook. Okay,
Yep.
well Facebook was one of the camera systems.
Love
Okay,
it.
well Facebook is also an application in the Apple App Store. Okay, so
Yep.
some billion amount of users have the Facebook app installed on devices. Maybe
Yep.
700,000 of those, or 700 million of those are on Apple devices.
Messenger as well. WhatsApp as well. All the same company
Yeah,
people.
so they got you. They got
Instagram.
your data. So essentially,
Losing all those apps would be absolutely small digression because I know you're going to get to it, but it's arguable that the Facebook mobile feed is more valuable. The inventory on that is way more valuable in the mobile app than it is on the desktop.
yeah.
Anyways, sorry, I'm in the weeds here. So Facebook cameras, continue. This is a great analogy. I love it.
These are 4 huge cameras. These are 4 huge. The ones you just listed are huge. That's a huge amount of data that feeds their machine learning and their AI, so that way we can target, as advertisers and media buyers, we can target people who are likely to want what we have. And so, so Facebook has these apps, right? And Apple comes out and says, listen, we're going to create a prompt that when someone opens your app, it's going to ask them, do they want you to track them across the internet? Because what Facebook can do is that you're using the Facebook app, and then you could be using the Google Chrome app or the Safari app or the Mozilla Firefox app. And as long as Facebook's on that device and they have permission, they can see the other behaviors and activities that are happening, which is valuable information. Now, if I get this prompt called App Tracking Transparency Prompt, ATT, App Tracking Transparency, this will happen on iOS 14.5 plus devices or Mac OS. I don't know the Mac OS, but it also affects the Mac OS as well.
Okay.
When I open an app on that version of software, it will ask me, do I want to be tracked? I'm going to click no. Because right, there's a small percent of people who are clicking yes. Reports have it that around 90% of people.
Shout out media buyers.
Yeah, Ryan Dias from Digital Marketer has released. He's got some inside data, and reports have it that about 90% of people are opting out on that message. So what does this mean? Okay, this means that Facebook can see what the person is doing inside of their app.
Correct.
But if they leave side of this app, Facebook may still see what they're doing, but Facebook cannot attribute what they're doing. So Facebook may still see what's happening, but they can no longer say that, oh, this click of this ad that ended up in this $132 purchase was from this click. And so now we don't see this conversion potentially on our report immediately anymore. Okay,
Right.
because now this purchase is going to AEM. So what's AEM? Essentially, people have opted out. So Facebook now needs a way to deal with opted out people.
Yep.
So because the Pixel is still seeing all their events, the Facebook Pixel is still watching everything that it can watch if ad blocker's not there, right? Like ad blocker blocks Pixel or whatever else may be blocking the Pixel. But if the Pixel loads, it's going to see this event from John who opted out.
Got
it. Facebook's sending this data back to AEM, Aggregated Event Measurement, to wash out the identifiable things.
Got it.
So maybe we'll see that event some period within the next 72 hours populate on our report. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. We kind of right now we're dealing with ambiguous reporting. Like, is this event real? Did this event happen today?
Right. Is it a data dump kind of thing?
Is it a data dump? Is this a delayed? And this is what we've been seeing for the last 5-6 months. Is just people don't know what to make of it. Is this, like, what's happening? Is this real events that were just delayed? Are these modeled events? Did these events even happen today?
The old joke was that if you wanted the ad to do well, you turn it off. Because the next 2 or 3 hours, like, you'd refresh it the next day, and it's the top performing fucking ad. You're like, what?
Zero spend. It's like ROAS through the roof, conversion value through the roof.
It's just like, what's going on, man? Okay, so let me kind of pull some things back together. Okay, so Facebook has a camera still, possibly can still track you, but legally is bound not to, or not legal, quote unquote legally bound, but it's incentivized to not lose its place on the App Store with its Facebook proper, with its Instagram, with its WhatsApp, with its Messenger app, like. I mean, those are huge,
Let's just tell you
huge
this.
properties.
If Apple
those are massive
found
properties.
that Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp or any of their own properties are still attributing this data outside of their Apple's policy, Apple will gladly gladly remove 30% of Facebook's revenue. Like,
that's all
just
the cover
by one
they
button,
need, right?
Just get out of here.
Okay.
Facebook will lose 30 to 40% of its revenue. Apple will suck it all up into their own advertising network.
Okay, interesting. So now
Facebook's walking a tight line.
The AEM is to essentially take that data and, for lack of a better term, like launder that money or launder that data into an anonymized format so it can't be traced back to anybody. And then that data is then dumped into Facebook and or modeled depending on the attribution window you choose.
And then you potentially lost the other events, right? Because you only get one of the 8 events. So
that's a really great point. So can you elaborate a little bit there?
Yeah, so with aggregated event measurement, essentially what they're saying is that we still can see the events that this opted out user is doing, but we're not going to report all of them to you, even if we anonymize them. We're only going to give you one, which is the highest priority. And so you've lost some of your full funnel insights, right?
Right.
It's like the add to carts, the initiate checkouts. Like, if you look at those audiences, those seed audiences and your custom audiences, and this is why lookalikes have not been performing as well as they always have, is because the seed audiences have less events. They have less data in them.
Less signal.
And so the lookalike is less useful. And so it's just, aggregated event measurement was, I'm glad we at least have it.
Right. It's a triage, right?
At least we're getting something. But yeah, we lost. I think the last estimation is about like 80% of events are now lost due to the reporting of only one event.
Oh, that's brutal.
So for people who are doing full funnel analysis, how do you do that anymore?
And for me too, when I was running my agency, I was finding that it was a lot more challenging with the lower spend clients, just because, like if you're just thinking of percentages, when you convert those percentages to absolutes, like if you only have 50 events a week, then you're doing okay, and then you're going to lose, 20, 30% of those events. It's like that is just a whole different ballgame. Versus if you have 1,000 events a week, like, you lose 30% of those, you're still fine. You're still giving plenty of signal to Facebook to perform, whereas those kind of lower spend budgets were really challenged because it wasn't that, like you said, the money machine that you could just press the button on anymore, even at $100, $200 a day, because you just couldn't compete. Yeah. That's so fascinating. Okay,
and then you may be competing and may not even know. It's like maybe the cash register has, and this is why MER and this is why some of these other stats are extremely, extremely crucial, like new customer CPA, right? Like,
yep, absolutely.
Some of these metrics are just mandatory now because we've lost some of that insight.
I love that. MER is marketing efficiency ratio for all the folks out there that aren't hip to the game yet. Okay, so now we know the problem at Facebook is sort of semi-solved to the best of its ability now. And then in slides TripleL plus Pixel into the DMs, and all is well. Can you kind of give us kind of how TriplePixel works at the highest level, and then what kind of data we're starting to surface? And the other thing too that I think is so beautiful about your camera analogy is people have to understand all these cameras were absolutely disconnected. So these are all their own little systems, and TripleL plus Pixel is actually all connected. And so this is kind of one of the other really interesting things because, as you all know, like over attribution's a real thing where if I go and buy something and I touch Klaviyo and I touched Facebook and I touched Google all within the attribution windows and I clicked on that or interacted with that ad, all of those channels, rightfully so, are going to claim that credit. And so now you have 3 conversions for one to Shopify. And so that's kind of something that was actually really fascinating for me with the triple pixel. Furthermore, we have insight into the business where nobody else does. And so being able to calculate a gross profit at the ad set and campaign level is bananas to me. But anywho, okay, there we go. I teed it up for you.
Yeah, amazing. So the highest level of the pixel, before getting into like all the fanciness of all the value and insights it can bring, I think the most fundamental and core statement that can be made about the triple pixel is that I'm going to read this because I just want to just say it exactly how I wrote it. In short, the triple pixel restores the lost data and improves the insights we had on that data. Okay, so it's like we were at a certain point with getting real-time data, undelayed data, unmodeled data, all of our events, the window of our desire up to a 28-day window, being able to remove view data and segment to see how much of this value is coming from clicks versus views. Essentially, triple pixel restores what the Facebook pixel was prior to January 19th. And then, the next coming months where things changed. So triple pixel puts us back to where we were with insights to our data. And then there's a bunch of more fancy and cool and beautiful additional things that we're doing. And, I kind of want to keep that line in the middle to say, like, it's not all about selling you on some new stuff. It's about returning us as advertisers to the insights and level of access to information we had prior to this whole mess. Right, that's crucial to me. Is like if I can get back to the insights and data I had prior to January, that'd be worth it for me. Now,
well, and again, not to cut you off, but again, that's still at the channel level. This is actually at a cohesive, like one camera system, all connected, watching every single one of your customers versus these disparate camera systems that are still functioning. Like to your point before, Google, Facebook. You could run from the channel metrics. Like I would use a blended ROAS where I would blend my channel metrics. Like it was fine until it wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. And so you just even hit it on the nose, right? It's like this is just at the channel level that we're talking right now. We're restoring the channel level. Now, as we can see, some media buyers and some performance marketers are already they were already questioning that. And this is where you have a camera. Essentially, what we're talking about with these camera systems that only report what they see, they're called self-attribution networks. They are only interested in showing you how they participated. And this isn't just malpractice, so to speak. This is also how else can they show you, right? Like if Facebook, Google, and Klaviyo were a part of a purchase, which one should tell which story? Right, so it makes sense that Facebook's gonna say, "Hey, I participated." Google has, "Hey, I participated." Klaviyo, "I participated." But now, you notice I'm using the word participated. This is a very unique word that we don't typically think about in attribution. Attribution models describe participation, not responsibility. Now, some of the newer attribution models, like data-driven attribution models, are actually trying to describe credit. They're trying to say, this is the causation of the sale.
Causal, yeah. Yep.
The causal effect of the sale. And we're finally at that point in time where Triple can start doing that. We have enough data, and we can start to introduce some data-driven models in the near future. So essentially, cross-channel attribution is something that none of these other platforms can provide. And so that's where you plug in TripleL's ecosystem. In TripleL, we can see what's happening in Google. We can see what's happening with your Pinterest. We can see what's happening with TikTok. We can see what's happening with your AOV. We can see what's happening with your SMS.
Your
COGS. And when I said AOV, I meant Klaviyo. We can see what's happening with your COGS. We can see all of this and how it's participating to the bottom line. And so this puts us in a unique position that no other attribution tool really has put themselves in.
No. And there's no incentive for us to basically weight one channel more than the other where, to your point, like a self-attribution is always going to weight itself how it thinks it should. And also to your point, like it doesn't know any better. I have no clue what Klaviyo is doing. I have no clue what Google's doing.
It's actually some advertisers like that. And so one of the things I did here with the Triple Pixel was we created something called Last Platform Touch. And then we ended up renaming it to Triple Attribution. Now, what that does that is it shows you how you would have seen it in the platform, because some people are just trying to replace what their platform was showing them. They aren't
Love it.
necessarily ready for switching and changing some of the paradigm of how they look at conversion and where they should double down. But yeah, so we have the ability for you to see, if you click on triple attribution, to say, we're going to attribute this conversion to the last platform that clicked.
Love it.
And so if we're on Facebook, we'll see the last Facebook ad that was a part of this conversion. If we're on TikTok, we'll see the last TikTok. So you still have the ability to see self attribution if you want that. And then we also have last click, which is going to look channel agnostic. It's just going to say whatever channel was last, we're going to give credit there. We also
Okay.
have first click, and then we'll let the community kind of tell us what attribution models we should build next. What I'm very excited to do is not really so much attribution models. I'm excited to empower the people who want to use attribution models to be able to use them.
Yep.
But for globally, what I'm interested in is telling people where to spend the next dollar. It's
Yeah.
like, this ad, you should increase spend by 10%.
Right.
This ad
This.
set, you should potentially think about swapping in this audience.
Yeah.
Like, attribution models give us insight, but then we need to figure out what decision to make from it.
Yep.
I want to help advertisers just say, this is the decision we recommend. Here's why we recommended it.
Yep.
Would you like to apply it?
Yeah. I think that is really the future. That I'm also stoked about that as well, where there can be kind of data-driven ML kind of stuff surface up, like, hey, you should scale X channel or Y channel, or to your point, even as granular as like, hey, scale this campaign ad or ad set because we see some benefits in the future for this. I think that's incredible. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. We're bumping up against it, so let's jump through. So you just excuse me. You described the attribution models. Can you describe kind of there was a bit of a change, right, between how Facebook recorded data in terms of event date versus click date. Can you kind of explain what those are for people?
Yeah, so I've been trying to quantify the value of this technical difference.
Yeah.
So I'll start with how it used to work, how Facebook used to work, and how Google Ads still works. Is if I spent, let's say, $1,000 on Monday, and someone clicked that ad, let's just say John clicked the ad on Monday, and then he
Yep.
finally, did his due diligence, did his research, asked his lady, yeah, let's get it, makes a purchase on Thursday.
Yep.
Is that purchase going to show on Thursday, or is it going to show based on the date that the click happened? This is what click date versus event date is trying to wrangle. Now, how Facebook and Google worked, how Facebook worked and how Google still works, Google Ads, my ad. So I'll just list them off by one. Facebook used to say that, well, even though that purchase happened on Thursday, the click was on Monday, so we're going to give credit to Monday.
Yep.
And so this is why you always had to look, you had to wait for, if you were doing 7-day window, you had to wait until 7 days past the close of that window for that data to be finalized.
Yep. Mature.
And so you always had to keep going back and snapshotting. And that's how it used to work. Google Ads still works that way. Google Analytics does not work that way. Google Analytics gives credit to the day that the purchase happened, so Thursday that sale would show. But now you're trying to find out your CPA. Like, what was my CPA on Monday?
Correct.
Well, the purchases that happened on Monday may not be purchases from spend on Monday. The
Correct.
purchases that are showing on Monday could be clicks from Friday the prior week. And so now you have like this blended CPA, which is okay. But if you're spending 10 grand a day, 20 grand a day, you're spending larger amounts per day. Okay, I want a more real-time decision, and so I want to be looking at click date. So essentially the way I kind of look at because it's like, okay, that's the technical difference. The technical difference is that click date attributes the order to the date that the click happened. Event date attributes the order that the date that the event happened. Okay, that's the technical difference. But now, what does that mean for me? How do I make money? And how do you make value out of this? Click date is about right now. Click date, if I'm looking at today, the results of today will only be the results of today, like the results that happen from today's efforts. And so if I'm trying to make real-time decisions, or per hour decisions, three times a day or something, or even within the 2-day period, I want to be on click date.
Yeah.
Because that's giving me a better realization of what's happening right now. If I'm buying media in 72 hour, 3 to 5 day windows, this really doesn't matter for you. You're going to have a wide enough date range. Changing the click date and event date wouldn't change much for you. So
I love that.
I guess this is really for people who want either the report to go back to the way they were used to it.
Yep.
Or people who are making real-time decisions.
I love that. Yeah, that was just very eloquently explained. Okay, let's see. Got through all that. Got through that. Click date. You already said your favorites. Man, it's like you read my show notes. Get out of here. Okay, and then the last question, a bit of a sandbag softball. Should everybody be using TripleL plus Pixel, or is TripleL just enough?
Come on, people.
Get the damn Pixel. Get the damn Pixel.
I've never been one to sell software just to sell software. Like I've never been that kind of guy. Like if you don't need it, you don't need it.
Yep.
And so there's one part I would say is that you don't know what you're missing unless you have a Pixel that's accurately doing something. So I could say that you should have some way that you validated that you don't need the Pixel, or better said, you should validate that there isn't enough value that the Pixel can provide for you. So everyone should have had the Pixel for at least 3 months, in a nutshell, because you don't know what you're missing, right? There could have been an ad that was actually performing way better than you knew, or there could have been an ad that was being over modeled.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Get out there, get a Pixel. Annoy me or Corey. Maybe we'll give you a discount code. Corey, you have made it to the rapid fire. Can you believe it? My allergies just hit. You timed it perfectly. So I'm going to try and not take it easy on you, but my allergies could be a bit prohibitive here. But you ready for some rapid fire?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay. Camaros, overrated, underrated?
Ooh, overrated.
Ooh.
I'm a Mustang,
what's your favorite car? Oh, you're a Mustang guy.
My first car was a Mustang. So.
Oh, I love it.
Great first question.
Philly, overrated, underrated?
Woo. Is it rated?
You can have accurately rated.
I guess it's overrated. It's overrated.
Overrated?
It's overrated.
Okay.
It's overrated.
All right.
It's good, though. It's good.
Attribution, overrated, underrated?
Woo! Oh, boy. I'm going to answer this for myself and then for everyone else. Overrated for me, underrated for everyone else.
I love it. I love it. UTMs, overrated, underrated?
Underrated.
Get those UTMs on, people. Come on. Your favorite city in Pennsylvania?
Lancaster.
Oh,
it's like an Amish town.
Yeah.
Great food. Very relaxed.
Is there a university there? Why do I know that? Is it by Pittsburgh or something? I've heard that name before.
Shippingsburg or Bloomsburg, maybe? Bloomsburg University?
For some reason, I've just heard Lancaster, PA before. Great. So go get you some Amish food. And they do the little carts and everything, right?
Yeah, they do the carts. Yeah, they're real deal. Real deal.
I love it. Eagles or Steelers?
Eagles.
Oh, come on, people. I didn't realize. So I was really into soccer when I was younger, and there's like a bunch. I was in the English Premier League, and there's a bunch of hooligans, kind of rowdy fans. Man, Eagles fans hold up to them. Absolutely. Like they are. So, for people that don't know, there's an actual jail in the stadium because people wow out so much. Like Eagles fans are another level, man. I love it.
Yeah. I got to see the Phillies win the World Series. Oh, let's keep going. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want
to. No. You can pontificate. It's your show,
so the Phillies won the World Series, and it was just so epic. Like I seen my teachers. Like I think I was in high school at this time. Beer goggles on, just smashing beer on their faces. People are smoking cigarettes or other things. It's just like whoa, like it was crazy. Like teachers and like police officers, like. We got to go back to school next week and see you again. Like, I don't know how we're going to erase this from our minds. There's some diehard Philly fans, man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Dude.
Be careful. Be careful picking fights with Philly fans.
Oh, man, it's crazy, right? Like, so my dad lived in Pittsburgh before Charlotte, and I went and visited him a few times, and it is really deep there where you have Pirates, Steelers, Philly, like, Everybody loves their sports teams, dude. It's incredible.
Pittsburgh is pretty. The Steelers, they don't have any shy fans either.
No, they do not. No. Side note: the Philly Fanatics, like one of my favorite mascots ever. I love it. Great mascot.
Oh wow, yeah, he's cool. Yeah, he's.
What's your favorite meal and why?
Ooh, favorite meal, man. I just slipped my name, but from the Twitter handle the Fire Team, Fire Agency.
Jess, yeah.
Jess, yeah. Man, he spoke so. I resonated with him so well. It's like I don't really have favorite food, so just kind of like surprised me. So there's still fun in it. Like,
I love it.
Oddly, I eat once a day. Like,
oh really?
Daily fasting. I didn't do it on purpose.
Cool. Yeah.
It just was a natural thing, but now I like tell people, yeah, I daily fast because now I know what it means and it has like some good things to it. I'm like,
fancy, yeah.
I care about my body, so
love it.
Yeah.
So no favorite meal, but like a favorite fast. I can.
I'll give you pasta and Italian sausage with some peppers and onions and some garlic.
Strong. That's delish. Yeah. It's a beautiful answer.
Yeah. There you go.
What is your favorite newsletter?
Whew. Okay, so this is gonna be like a tie between Cody and Alex P.
Yeah.
I don't know the the full names of their newsletters, but boy, oh boy, every time I open, it's like I think Cody's is the playbook, and what is Alex's?
Corey Dobbins is the marketing playbook. Corey
Dobbins. I'm sorry.
Corey Dobbins,
the playbook. Yeah,
he's strong. Yeah, he's the playbook, and then No Best Practices, Alex P.
No Best Practices.
She's my Twitter crush, man. She's just an intellectual juggernaut, dude. Absolutely. She's
fire.
One of my favorites.
Fire.
Just heat constantly, dude. She's just
too much actually. I don't even think people are ready.
I don't know where to put it.
People are ready to digest that. Yeah.
She's so good, man. Yeah.
Too truthful.
Hey, Alex P. Shout out No Best Practices. She's fantastic. What's your favorite place to travel to and why?
Ooh. I like Florida.
Yeah. Where at?
Fort Lauderdale
Miami,
area.
Fort Lauderdale, yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm done with the Miami.
Yeah.
Wanted to do it as a kid, and as got a little bit older, got that out of my system. Miami's terrible. Yeah, just
Shout
northern.
out Chris Meade.
Just beaches, man. Just get me to a beach that has internet connection, that has a WeWork close, where I can sit down and get focused for a little bit, but keep me near a beach.
Do you like the East Coast beaches or not really? You rather go south?
No, yeah, like going to Cali, going to LA was like in Santa Monica, like that was beautiful.
That's what's up. Yeah.
But Florida's also very nice, right? Like you go a little bit northern, you got like Boynton Beach, you got some like West Palm Beach, you have some really nice beaches or like private access type thing. So
yeah, and some of the sand there is fantastic. Really pretty beaches. You're right. What's the favorite way you spend your time?
As of late, working. I've been working so hard.
Welcome to it, right?
But
I know, dude, you've been killing it.
Prior to that, I enjoy reading. Just like different. I'm a curious person. So anything that has ambiguity, but some absolute potentially tucked into it, gets me going. Yeah, it just gets me going. So anything about like history, anything about like space, or even religious content, like like not the religious parts of it, just like the doctrinal ideas and concepts. I just like things like that. Yeah. So one of the things coming for soon is an RV.
Ooh.
RV.
Dude, I love raging. Yeah, I love nature. There's just something to getting out in it. And there's just something to just like a good old road trip, man. It's so like rings in my like American like screaming eagle kind of freedom where it's like as long as you got gas money, nobody's telling you where to go, how to go, when to go. Like, I don't know. There's just I love
and
me
internet,
a good road
man.
trip. That's it, dude. That's the path. Okay, cool. Last question. If you could have dinner with any people or with anyone dead or alive, or excuse me, Jesus, I'm ruining it. If you could have dinner with any three people, dead or alive, fictional or non-fictional, so it's all at the same dinner, so it's a 4-person table, and you're inviting 3 people, who would they be?
Ouch. Oh boy. Okay, so a Napoleon Hill.
Yeah.
A
He's a productivity person, if people don't know that. He's fantastic, though.
We'll go with Jesus.
Okay, JC, let's go.
And we'll go with like a Gandhi.
Oh, how interesting. Okay. Well, that's very insightful.
And these
I
just
like
some principle, like discipline and principle, like people who have displayed abnormal levels of discipline and ability.
I love that.
Just like
what
do you guys know that we don't? Us simple humans.
Your tinker is coming out again. You're trying to reverse engineer them too. I love it. Corey, you're a dream, man. It was so great to meet you in Columbus, and I'm excited for the next quarterly meetup. But where can people find you? What do you want to turn people on to? This is your time.
Look, check out the TripleL Twitter. You'll see me on that Twitter being mentioned a few times. You can come follow me on my Twitter. For the last month, has been pretty much absent, but we kind of got over that, burning the oil every night. So February, we'll still end out January pretty strong, but starting in February, you'll see a ton of Pixel content coming from me. I'll be talking Pixel feedback, Pixel results, highlighting case studies that we're seeing, and so you definitely want to tune in. We'll drop the Twitter handle for myself in somewhere around here.
Absolutely. Show notes for sure. We do it big. High production value. Hey, everybody. Thanks for stopping in again for the 14th episode of You Are Not Your ROAS. If you want to get more involved in TripleL, you can go to trytriplel.com, sign up there. As Corey said, we have an awesome newsletter that goes out every Tuesday, Thursday called Whale Mail. Sign up for that. We actually featured Alex P. this week. Phenomenal essay from her. What else we got? Yeah, at TripleL is on the Twitters. We have a Facebook group now, just facebook.com/group/TripleL. It's called the Whale Sanctuary. A bunch of people in there just kind of talking shop. And then I think that's all we got. So thanks again. Oh, and then I don't know when people are going to hear this, but every Thursday we have a State of the Whale, where every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern, you can tune in on any of our social channels. We broadcast live a State of the Whale. It's about 20, 30 minutes. You can submit questions. You can ask questions live, all that good stuff. Corey, you're the man, the Pixel Polymath, the legend of PA. Appreciate you, brother. We'll talk soon. Thanks, Corey. We'll see everybody later.
Awesome. Alrighty. Bye-bye.